Jimmy's Jam Box. Keep jamming. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, here's a quick word about our sponsor. Coconut Genmaicha, a tropically inspired tea. This hearty and comforting genmaicha pays homage to the traditional preparation with the addition of semi-sweet toasted coconut, pineapple, and rose. That's not only delicious, but inspires creativity. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. All right, thank you all for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary. It's the holiday time, so make sure to click the link below. Go pick up some stuff. But now let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hey everybody, my name is Gus Jeffers.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you're from and what you do?
My name is Gus Jeffers. Like I said before, I'm a local artist just from Portland, Oregon, and I'm a singer, songwriter, artist, guitar player, performer, producer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But, I'm super excited to be on here today.
Yeah, super glad to have you here. Tell us how you got started. What was like your first instrument in musical moments?
My first musical moment was actually I was downstairs doing karaoke with my best friend because we just thought it'd be funny just to mess around. I think I was like 10 or 11. So we were downstairs and I was singing I Want You Back by the Jackson 5. And my mom didn't even know I could sing. There's videos of me where I was like when I was 4, like sing Let It Go and I was on tune, but it just never crossed her mind.
Fair.
So yeah, I was down there singing and she thought it was like Michael Jackson. That's what they thought. They thought I was like they thought it was the song playing. And then my babysitter, basically, when I was younger, she walked in the room and she said, "No, Mom, that's Gus."
Oh wow.
Or Kelly.
Yeah.
That's Gus. But yeah, that was definitely one of my first musical moments, or my first musical moment. But yeah,
That's awesome. And what was the first instrument that you played?
the first instrument that I played was piano. I like begged to do lessons.
Okay.
I like really wanted to do lessons. And then a funny thing from piano lessons was, since it's kind of around the Christmas time, or it's getting around the Christmas time in this episode, I was at a recital actually, and I was singing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, but it was in June.
Oh.
So I was singing a little bit early. I was getting like a head start on Christmas.
That's probably not a bad move. Also, certain Christmas songs I think can be, timeless and year round. There are some.
Definitely.
I mean, Mariah Carey, you can wait until the holiday time like the rest of us, but there are some that can go all year round. And then what were like, let's talk about some like early core memories. What was one of the first albums that you remember like listening to in its entirety?
Definitely the Silk Sonic album, I think.
Such a good album.
That's like the first album I think I've listened to the like entirety of. Like I don't think I've ever I never like listened to full albums. I'd listen to songs off of albums, but I never like got into it until like last year, because I think that's when that came out.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean it's a really good album. That was such a unique collaboration to have happen.
Yeah.
Because they're just two such like powerful entities to have them put it together. Also, I think it really gave Bruno Mars an opportunity to like lean a little bit more into himself. And that was kind of nice. I feel like he's stuck on the pop thing for so long. It was cool to see him branch out. But we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about you. Have you gone to any live shows yet or seen any other than like ones you performed at?
I got to see the Bruno Mars Silk Sonic was actually my first concert in Vegas.
Oh, okay.
And the funniest thing is we were sitting there and Usher walks in to go watch it because he's performing there now. And he has a residency in Vegas, and you were like right over there where he's like walking in. Everyone starts screaming, and I'm like, "What's happening?" I was like, "This is the show starting?" And then we looked down, and Usher's like a few rows down from us, sitting over there.
Oh, whoa!
It was crazy, but the show was amazing. But they locked up our phones.
Yeah, that seems to be the running thing now.
I think it's good because you can kind of be in the moment.
Exactly. That's always the big argument I make. A lot of people are like, "Oh, they just don't want like stuff from the shows coming out and this and that." No, it's to be present.
Yeah, and then he sang a song about taking our phones away. That was funny.
That at least they were good sports about it. And then to wrap up kind of the foundation questions and getting to know you, do you have like a core moment where you were like, okay, now I want to do all the things with music?
I think I went to meet Alonzo Chadwick. Mm-hmm. He was the person that introduced me to my vocal coach, Dorcas. And so, yeah, I think I went into I don't remember what the company was he was working at, but it was a music company. And I go to meet him, and he calls me a prodigy. And he said I was a prodigy. And I sang for him. And then I went down, I sang I Want You Back with them at the waterfront. I think that was really when I started to take it seriously. I was like, this is what I want to do now.
Awesome. Well, I mean, it's really cool how like capable you are on so many instruments and other things as well, which we're definitely going to get into right now. Let's go ahead and talk about you as the current day artist. And we're just going to get the super easy one out of the way. Okay. How did you pick your name?
My parents picked it for me. It's kind of, but it's also fun to say. This didn't happen, but it's fun to say that I was named after the mouse in Cinderella. Oh. I wasn't, but it's funny to think about it.
It's a good correlation for sure. And then let's talk about your writing process. And I want to go right to the beginning. When it comes to putting a song together, what are the first things you do when you get inspired?
The first things that I do is I go straight to my voice memos. I have so many voice memos of just song ideas that usually don't become a song for like multiple months, or just don't become a song.
Yeah.
But I do that, or I figure out the chords on my guitar. But I really I use beats too online. But I have a lot of help from my writing coach, Caitlin Velez. She's in New York, but yeah, she's amazing. She's 23 years old, and yeah, she's amazing. She's like the reason like all my songs are so well put together on my first.
I could believe it.
It could be like my first like little work of music it would be completely different without her.
I bet. And how did you get introduced to her initially?
I got introduced to her with it's kind of been a big spider web, because we went from Alonzo to my vocal coach, and then my mom's company. This was like completely so random. It was at my mom's company, and she was working like there. I don't exactly remember how the connection happened, but his name was Rodney, because she changed companies. And my mom sent a video of me singing to him, and he was like, "Oh wait, let me send this to my best friend." And he was the music promoter for Sony and RCA.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure those are the two ones, but I know it was Sony, and I'm pretty sure it was RCA, and he's done a bunch of big artists. And then he just he says like, just keep going, and then we'll talk eventually. Just keep going. And then I finally sent him a like recording that I did, because the first cover I ever did was When I Was Your Man, that I recorded, and we sent that over, and that's what got me connected with my producers, and my producers got me connected with my writing coach. So it's just a big spider web, and it just keeps growing.
Clearly. And then sticking to the topic of the writing process, how long after a song is written, so you have the whole song written from start to finish, how long does it take you to get comfortable with it to the point where you're ready to perform?
I really have to, like, it feels like it's two different things for like studio. I know you didn't ask for studio, but like for studio, for me, I just have to know the melodies well enough, and like I work with my vocal coach, but I don't have to know the lyrics exactly, because I can have the lyrics, I just have to know them well enough.
Exactly.
But performance, I have to know it inside and out for me to perform it.
And how long would you say that takes naturally or normally?
Sometimes it takes a really long time. Like I just had a Christmas show last night downtown. I was outside of I got booked to perform in front of Nordstrom downtown.
Okay. Wow.
Like 2 20-minute sets.
Okay.
And my vocal coach, she really pushed me on that. It was like a week, and it was like hour and a half lessons every day.
Oof.
And I was like, I'm done. She's like, nope, you're not done.
Man.
And so because I didn't know a lot of those Christmas songs, so I like had to completely learn them. I mean, I know them, but I'm not like, I only listen to them for like 2 weeks out of the year.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I guess Christmas's music isn't something you can listen to year round.
I mean, I could, but I don't think I'm going to.
That's fair. And I don't think that's what you should prepare for either. I think over time you'll just know them like everybody else does. And then what was one of the first like performances that you ever did that was like in front of a group of people?
The first performances that I ever did was the Waterfront Festival with Alonzo Chadwick and his band.
Okay.
Soulful Music, that's what it's called. And
exciting.
Yeah, it was so funny because that was my first performance. I was so scared, and I just stood there like a stick singing the song, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared.
I could imagine, especially, I mean, like I remember I didn't get on stage for the first time until I was like almost 17. I couldn't even imagine what it would be like any younger than that. So that's a feat all in itself.
I think I was 11 or 12, sometime around there.
Okay. And how long have you been doing music now, just so I can get kind of a frame of reference?
I really started, I think it was a year and a half ago. I'm not completely sure, but it was like 11 or 12 around that time.
Okay.
But I really took it seriously like 12.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's cool that you've already taken it so seriously. You know what I mean? Like and everybody's journey is so different. So it's not so much a comparative thing, but it's awesome that you've been given all these opportunities and you've taken it like proper advantage of them. You're really making the most of it. And then what would you say is something you enjoy about your current sound?
I think it's nice that I still sound youthful like when I'm singing, because I feel like the one annoying thing though is like I'm still taken seriously, but I'm taken seriously to a certain point, because I'm like, oh, he's 13, but like, so I think people still take me seriously, but I still think it's like to a certain point, to a certain extent. But I really do enjoy like I think I have like kind of a soulful sound, because my vocal coach, she like grew up in church, and she has a super soulful, nice, like rich sound. So I got a lot of that from her too. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. And it's cool you can acknowledge that. And I mean, it's going to happen regardless, you know, I mean, just given the stats of things, but it's good to be able to acknowledge that, you know, you're getting interacted with in a certain way, but you do show up very professional about it. Yeah. So that goes away very quickly. And then to wrap up kind of the music focus part of it, and this is definitely the densest question, but we talk a lot about like, you know, the interactions with music and the things that happen because of them. But what is it about music that just like does the most for you? What does it give back to you?
I think what it gives back to me is like, it's just kind of enjoyment for me. Like it's something that I just love to do. Like even if no one listened to it, I would still be singing and playing on my guitar and writing songs.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into some hypothetical questions.
Okay.
And these are all sky's the limits. There are no wrong answers. So just, you know, have fun with it. Yeah. And for this first one, if you could work with any one person, and it doesn't have to be a musician even, it could just be anybody in the world. They just have to be alive. Who would you work with, and how would you want to work with them?
Do you think, can I choose two people? There's two people that I really want. So.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's for different things. Like I'd love to do a performance with Bruno Mars. But I do want to do a song with Bieber. That's one of my two biggest things. But I also want to work with Timberland. So I have a lot of different things. There's a lot of, but the top two would be do a song with Bieber and perform with Bruno Mars. Okay.
Now, was Justin, was he like an early influence for you? Like,
I think he's really become an influence, like, I think recently. I mean, but it was mainly Bruno Mars in the beginning. Bruno Mars and Michael Jackson. Those are the two people I really looked up to, but like through the past few months, it's definitely been Bieber, because that's who I get compared to the most, like, as in, I get that, the way I look, or not like the way I look, but like just like people would just say it's mini Justin Bieber.
There's definitely, I could see the correlation for sure. But I mean, the other two are very like prominent artists to have in your top. That's a pretty stacked lineup right there. And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with, but you would like to?
I'm gonna have to think about that. I don't think I have a certain artist, but not yet. But I have like, I want to figure out radio, like some people at radio stations.
Okay.
Because a lot of people at radio stations are also artists themselves.
True.
Like, well, I think 105, but just like some different radio stations.
Yeah.
Some artists from there.
Okay. Yeah, actually, I'm not quite sure if it's come out before or after this episode yet, but I got to sit down with Bren Boy from KBOO, and just, that's the whole experience. They're a very accessible radio station. So if you were looking to get on the radio, that is a great place to go.
Okay.
Just because they're community driven and organized, and they do a lot of stuff as well. So I think that they would be worth reaching out to if you're interested in going that avenue.
Okay.
I think his segment might be a little too late in the day for you to want to go on. I think it starts at like 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday.
Oh, that's
it's like 10 to
late.
midnight. But either way, there's a whole horde of people that work there that would definitely be worth talking to.
Yeah.
All right. And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limits.
Yeah.
If you could perform anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access, building stability, power, guaranteed best show, guaranteed best lineup. And it doesn't have to be a venue. It could just be anywhere. Where would you like to perform?
Probably the Super Bowl.
Okay. Wow, that's a really cool answer.
That's the one that I've really wanted to do, the Super Bowl. That's like the biggest, that's the top performance for me. That's a really, nobody's given an answer like that before. That's a really fun one. I like that. I might mix that in as suggestions for the future because it's a really creative answer. All right, and then to wrap up the hypothetical questions, if you could get one more album from anybody, and I mean, they could have just put out an album yesterday, could have never put out an album ever. It just one album from anybody. Who would you want an album from? If I could I could get an album from anybody that's not released, or just an album that they have.
No, one that like if they were to put out a new album tomorrow, who would you want a new album from?
That's hard. Probably Bieber or Bruno.
Okay.
Too.
You know what? Let's put a twist on it. Let's get a collaborative album.
Oh yeah, that'd be really awesome.
Actually, that would be interesting. Everybody at them in the comments, and let's make that a real thing. All right, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start wrapping this up. Okay. So let's talk about what you got going on in the future. What can we look forward to in the first quarter of 2024?
In the first quarter of 2024, you can look forward to new music. I actually have a Christmas song out right now called This Christmas, so I don't know if you want to put that in the link below or something like that.
Definitely. We'll put it on the screen for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have a bunch of new music. I actually have been performing some of them. So if you guys ever come to my shows, you'll be able to hear some unreleased stuff. I just can't release it or post it yet. But yeah, so if you guys want to come to my shows, just check my Instagram.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, that wraps up right into the next one perfectly. Why don't you go and look at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you?
You can find me by just Googling Gus Jeffers, or just search it up on any place. But my Instagram is gus.e.j, I'm pretty sure. But you can just Google Gus Jeffers, GUSJEFFERS, on Spotify and anywhere, every social media platform, I'm there. Perfect. And it'll also be on the screen right next to you there. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you'd like to put on while you're on here? I'm going to have a list. I want to shout out Carly Bruce, Caitlin Velez, Ryan Matthews, Aaron Karsh, Dorcas, the Brown sisters, which is her sisters. They're amazing. They have like basically a band, is that what you would call it? But yeah, well, not a band, but they do music. Yeah, they do music, exactly, and they're amazing. And then Gio Bivens, Rodney, he's the one that got me connected to them. My mom. Everybody should shout out their mom on this show. Everybody should. That should be the core answer. Rain Ezra too, because she's shout out Rain, helping me look like kind of teaching me how to produce and teaching me how to just book shows, everything. She's just...
You know what? I know we're wrapping it up, but before we do, let's talk about production for a little bit.
Okay.
What is that experience like for you? What DAW are you using? How have you gone about like putting your own stuff on it? And like what's that experience like for you thus far?
It's been like really cool because I've already made some pretty cool beats, but I think so. I send them to my producers, but I use Logic.
Okay.
And I haven't really wrote to any of them yet. Like I want to get to that, but I just haven't done it yet. So I've just been working on just improving them every time.
It's definitely like it's a process that if you're doing it right, you're never done figuring out something.
Yeah.
New, you know what I mean? Like I know people that are like well into their like 50s and 60s now doing music, and they're just always like, oh my gosh, Jimmy, look at this thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad we're having this conversation. Yeah, there's so many things to learn. I think also just because you make music on a platform doesn't always have to mean you have to put yourself on top of it. I think that opens up a whole new avenue of like collaboration.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something worth looking forward to. But thank you for going through that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this up. I've got one more question for you, but before we do, I'm going to still the camera for just a second.
Okay.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to our sponsors, The Brothers Apothecary. Like I said, it's the holiday times. Click the link below. Go pick up some stuff. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. Okay. But what is an album that you think everybody should know and they should go listen to after this episode? Well, after they listen to your music.
Yeah. Definitely like the Silk Sonic album and the Purpose album. I like those too.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's crazy to me that people haven't heard the Silk Sonic album, but that's definitely a really good one. Like, I'm a big fan of that album.
Yeah.
As well. So that gets an additional thumbs up for sure.
I think it's called the Silk. I don't know. I think it's just called Silk Sonic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they went self-titled on that too, which I mean, they could have named it anything and it would have been incredible. So. Yeah. All right. But hey, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Gus.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.